seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? New Battle Channel, where we talk about those faces. Talking news. Debbie. Cassie Barnes has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Chattanooga and Middle Valley both behind bars. Ciera Lockair was found. She was found alive. What happened to Ciera Lockair?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're in shame. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chasing a Murder Talking News. My name is Debbie, and today we are going to be talking about a story that's coming out of Indiana and Georgia. It's connected to a young lady, 31 years old, by the name of Ciera Lockair. Also goes by Breland. She's the mother of a young baby. She's an attorney, and she married a man by the name of Xavier Breland Jr., 37. Ciera was last seen on the evening of February 24th after meeting her husband at her in-laws. And there's a few contradicting ideas of how they got there, whether they got there together or separately. According to much of the information online, the couple met in Georgia. She was also a well-respected attorney in the area. While Xavier has family in Georgia, he has seen or seems to be connected to Indiana for several years. After dating a while, the couple have moved supposedly around a year ago from Georgia to Indiana, where Xavier's father lived. So this is relatively recently that she moved from this metro Atlanta area to just outside of Indianapolis. So where she took a job at a law firm. What we're hearing is the relationship started off pretty good, but what we're hearing is the couple is having a few problems in their own relationship, and also had a few serious issues still going on between him and his ex-wife, so the wife before Ciera, Brittany Lust. What we are hearing is that Ciera, being an attorney, was legally assisting Xavier in this dispute between his ex-wife Brittany Lust and him. December 16th of 2020, Brittany Lust got a protective order against her ex-husband Xavier. He was threatening his ex-wife that his kids and her kids would have to come visit her at a cemetery. On December 17th of 2020, Ciera and Xavier were both caught on a ring camera at Brittany's house. And when Brittany asked for police to arrest him, he said that didn't happen. Xavier said that he did not break any laws. Clearly, you can see that this woman is having issues. She's having to get a protective order. And for some reason, the day after that protective order is put in place, he's at her house, yet he is still free. Let's watch this.
Come on, leave me alone. I'll up everything you know. Kids be going to the cemetery to see your I don't make threats. I deliver.
So we're learning that this legal battle became very heated in Georgia, and that the newly married Xavier and Ciera decided to head north to get away from the turmoil and turn over a new leaf. Here's the problem. Ciera is missing. It's been months now, and no one has seen her. On the weekend of February 19th, 2022, Ciera is said to have stopped in Cleveland, Georgia. Contradictions of whether or not Xavier was in the car with her when she come down, or if he got out of the car before she got to her family's, in which she visited first. Said that she spent the night with her family and then left the next morning. In other stories, it says that both Ciera and her husband Xavier arrived in Cleveland, Georgia at her father's house on February 19th, and that was a Saturday. By all accounts, it was a good visit with her nieces and nephews who showed up to spend time with the 31-year-old aunt. According to Ciera's family, this is the last time that they saw her. A few family members have come forward to talk to media and shared the fact that Ciera had actually talked to the family about moving back in with them. And this is on the weekend of February 19th of 2022. Despite talking to them about that, they said that she left the next day with Xavier to visit his family in North Atlanta. And there's contradictions to that story as well. What we know is that Ciera reportedly headed to Johns Creek, Georgia to meet up with her husband at his mother's house. Along with them was their 5-month-old son, Jackson, and their Labradoodle dog. On February 20th, 2022, after spending the night in her in-laws' home. Okay, guys, excuse the background noise. It's February 20th. This is the day that she's spending the night with Xavier's mother in Johns Creek, Georgia. According to news articles online, on February 22nd, the family reaches out to Ciera. But that Tuesday, family members would try to get in touch with her and never got a response. The family said this was very unusual for her, and also Ciera and Xavier were due to go back home in Indiana the next day. And on February 23rd, Xavier and Ciera should be back in Indiana. It's about 5 days later, after the weekend of the 19th of February. And at some point, Xavier claims that his wife walks out of their Indiana home and never returns back. So what we're hearing is she went missing a few days after arriving in Georgia. But Xavier called police to report his wife missing a day after she didn't return home after leaving, allegedly in Indiana. However, investigators have been able to determine the last known time Ciera was seen, and it was on 7/17 on February 24th at a home along Highgate Manor Court in the Parsons Walk subdivision in Johns Creek, Georgia, and that this address that was given to police is the same address family members of Ciera have said is the home of Xavier's mother and Ciera's mother-in-law, and this is according to Fox 5. And her family is completely devastated, saying that she had planned to leave her husband Xavier, possibly even that weekend that this all happened, because he was physically and emotionally abusive, very similar to the claims of the ex-wife, Brittany. So remember this, guys, because something shocking is going to happen shortly. In fact, her family shares a little bit of their background, their relationship. It is said, according to an Inside Edition digital article, that Ciera's cousin Shelby Campbell shared that several times Ciera told her that Xavier threatened to kill her and had regularly attacked her. She said, quote, "He had shoved her into things. He would throw things at her when she was pregnant and when she was holding the baby. He hit her in the face with a gun. He bashed her head into a window while they were driving. He threatened to kill her and screamed at her," end quote. And remember, Xavier's first wife also has allegations that he's very abusive. But on top of being abusive, he was also stalking her. And during the time all this is going down with Ciera, this is running in the background. He already threatened to take her life, and Brittany's life, and threatened that the kids would have to visit her in her grave. He also mentioned the fact that when he threatens somebody, he's going to pull through. According to Ciera's cousin, she said that Ciera actually texted her quite often and talked about everything, including Xavier's behaviors. And here are a few texts that she shares with us that Ciera writes. Quote, "I'm seeing things that scare me a lot for the future with him, and they aren't the kinds of things that you can accept and live with." End quote. And this was supposedly written last summer, August of 2021. Campbell continued with, quote, she would say, "Oh, I think he's really going to hurt me." And I'd say something back to her, and she'd say, "Shelby, I'm not kidding, like, genuinely. I think he's capable of doing something very bad to me." End quote. So there's no doubt in her mind that this woman, like most domestic violent relationships, they're seeing the good side of this person they're with, which is the person they fall in love with, and then this very angry, abusive side that makes them want to leave them. And that's where things get confusing for these women. And according to Ciera's family, this is how it all went down that weekend of February 19th through February 24th. She was actually making plans to actually leave him, allegedly. In fact, according to her cousin, she said she was planning to leave her husband and then stay with her family in Georgia and not return to Indiana. In some of her final messages, Ciera texted her cousin, quote, "I am at Xavier's mom's house. He won't give me Jackson, so I'm waiting to get him so I can leave," end quote. So it seems there was a possibility that Ciera was truly going to leave him this time, and he knew it. And at that point, maybe something triggered for him. Considering what we're hearing and seeing in these documents and accusations against him, it isn't looking so hot. But you just wait, guys, wait. We still have that shocking information coming. Remember, February 24th of 2022, Ciera's family believes that Ciera should have made it back to Indiana by now. They've reached out to her with no success. In fact, the family say later on, this is a month or so later, or weeks later, that they believe that their daughter never even made it out of Georgia. Some time later, the only thing that they can find of Ciera is in that surveillance video we talked about, showing her standing outside of her mother-in-law's suburban Atlanta home. And it's not until February 25th of 2022 that Ciera is actually reported missing by her husband Xavier. And this report is made after he is back home in Indiana. And remember, that report was that he saw his wife walk out the door in Indiana, and she just never returned home. Now, I'm not 100% on the timeline of his arrest, but I believe it is March 1st of 2022. He is arrested in Indiana. I believe Xavier is arrested on unrelated charges to his wife Ciera. Instead, he's arrested with charges is attached to Brittany, his ex-wife, with allegedly stalking, and of course, you remember the protective order. We'll get more into that in a second. He is arrested in Indiana. So he starts talking to police a little bit more, and he says that Ciera actually, she just disappeared from the Brookstone Park subdivision in Carmel, Indiana. And that sometime shortly after 10 p.m. He claims that she walked to a nearby store and that she was reportedly wearing a black top and purple shorts. According to the Indiana Police Department, Ciera was reported to have left the couple's home again around 10 p.m. to walk to a nearby store, supposedly in purple shorts, when the temperatures were in the mid to upper 20s that night. And as police investigate this later on, there's absolutely no evidence that Ciera ever arrived. There was no receipt, no surveillance video, and that's according to her family. And again, in another article, the family mentions that they really do not believe that their daughter ever made it back to Indiana. So here's another concern: the fact that Ciera left behind her cell phones, her ID, her credit cards, and the couple's 5-month-old son, Jackson. What is she going to get at a store? And police also have their own suspicions that perhaps she didn't return from her family trip. At some point, the FBI will get involved with this, probably because it's, involved in multiple states. Soon after, there is a $10,000 reward for any information that could lead to the whereabouts of Ciera. So something they learned later is that Ciera was having to carry around a burner phone. And the reason for this, according to her family, is for her to be able to contact them in case of an emergency, that being involved with Xavier. So let's jump back again just a little bit to talk about this arrest warrant they have for Xavier. Now, I don't have this timeline exact either right now. There's so much to the story and I do so many. According to a few articles online, it is said that this warrant was actually issued a few days after all this happened. It was unrelated to Ciera, and it was an outstanding warrant for aggravated stalking in Georgia. According to documents, it is around this same time that he's taken into custody that investigators named Xavier as a person of interest in the disappearance of his wife Ciera. And I want to remind you that he's not charged in her disappearance. So after picking him up, the son goes into state custody, where Ciera's parents later were able to pick him up. So right now, little Jackson is with Nick and Kelly Lockair. Several news articles say that Xavier Breland Jr., his alleged history of violence extends to his ex-wife years back. And he's extradited from Indiana to Georgia based on that arrest warrant. Now, we're hearing that the warrant was issued for February 24th, and when Xavier failed to appear for the arraignment in the stalking case, according to online records, the warrant was issued. He had previously pleaded not guilty to these charges. So let's go over a few of the allegations. So this is very, very concerning. One of the allegations involving his ex-wife is that he placed a tracking device inside a stuffed animal he gave to the couple's daughter. This is something we're hearing more of. I have anyways. There's many stories I haven't even been able to post for you guys that involve stuff like this. He also made harassing phone calls to the ex-wife, which we heard just a few examples of that. So I don't have the date for you right now, but at some point, once he is back in Georgia, a judge orders that Xavier be held without bond, at least for a week. That being attached to aggravated stalking, in which he is accused of trying to put a GPS device in his daughter's toy. So according to court documents, Xavier gave this 5-year-old daughter a pink stuffed animal with a GPS tracker sewn inside, knowing that she would be staying with her mother. The girl's mother picked up the animal the next day and felt something inside. When she cut open the animal, she found this GPS tracker. Wow. According to Max Lewis of Fox 59, the GPS tracker was similar to the one that was placed on the woman's car. And I don't know how you can get any better evidence than this. They find out that both trackers or devices were registered to Xavier's email address. That wasn't the only thing. According to this ex-wife, he showed her missing persons and said this could be you. He threatened her by saying that the children would visit her in the grave, which we've gone over. And the guy was getting addresses that he wasn't supposed to know. Several of Ciera's family members attended Xavier's bond hearing, when this first came out. According to them, they said, quote, he just walked in smiling and winking and was so confident and arrogant. It was just hard for us to wrap our head around, end quote. So it's obviously he's good at grooming and gaslighting. Police have searched for Ciera, but have had no luck locating her. I would like to mention this too. I almost forgot. According to Ciera's family, when they sat in on this bond hearing, they said they really didn't even know about a lot of these allegations until they were there. We also learned that police were actually having trouble locating Xavier when they did obtain the search warrant or arrest warrant. The family did know, however, that he was capable of being abusive to Ciera. They said, quote, we all told her to leave him. We didn't like what we were seeing. She was very smart. She never put up with anything from anyone. We all told her she had a safe place to go, end quote. According to family members, Ciera had actually planned to leave Xavier about 1 year before this couple takes this trip to Georgia, and that she had been secretly saving money. Campbell said, quote, she had no intentions on going back to Indiana, end quote. So that sounds certain, but you never know with these relationships. So at first, when media reaches out to the defense attorney to get some information or get some response, they really don't get anything. And at first, he's being held in the Georgia jail without bond. With the fact that the police are getting all these text messages and all this information, it's probably just a matter of time before he becomes a suspect, most likely. That's my opinion. But Ciera's family is having a difficult time dealing with this, and at times they refuse to believe that she's gone, but later on the parents, kind of their tune changes. She says she hopes that Xavier will tell police what happened for the sake of his and Ciera's son, Jackson. She said, quote, that baby is going to grow up and he's just not going to know what happened to his mom. I can't fathom that, end quote. You can read the rest of that article on Fox 59. There are other allegations where he has beat her with a metal weapon, pushed her onto the bed. It's just very violent and unexcusable behavior. And the police continue to actually search areas such as the Chattahoochee River, which they've done several times in that surrounding area. Okay, so you remember that shocking information I was telling you about? Remember, he's arrested and is in jail. He awaits a hearing. And at the time, he is denied bond. However, his hearing comes along and his case goes to trial. His attorney told Georgians that the jury returned the verdict very quickly on Thursday, August 11th. And he was acquitted. I kid you not. Many domestic violence stories that I have covered always ends in a tragedy because of this type of thing. I mean, there was a lot more to it, and the attorney was able to leave out a lot of information he couldn't present to the jury. But even so, knowing that he already had a permanent protective order, a history of this, GPS devices found that audio, you got to be kidding me. And so it would be interesting to hear an attorney, especially a defense attorney's perspective on just that part of this case, where he's acquitted. I'm gonna have to cut this story short. There's so much to it. And anyways, police are asking for people to come forward that might have seen her car with the tag number RMB 5869 It has the FSU Law School frame. Ciera was in the Georgia, well, she traveled in between several areas there in North and Mid Georgia. Here's a picture of the vehicle. She is described as being about 5 feet tall and weighing approximately 120 pounds with blonde hair. Guys, please share this video. Share her information. Maybe someone saw something. Someone could help. Definitely it isn't right for these parents to have to suffer like so many families and not get answers as to where their child is. Don't forget, we have other faces here that are missing. And I want to reach out and say thank you everyone who has subscribed or given on Patreon or liked or said hello or commented. People who have shared videos of our missing girls. Please share their face again today. Love you guys. See you guys soon.